Hi, my name is Ashton Richards. I'm a sales consultant here with Beath Consulting, and today I wanted to go over the custom fields section of event registration. So I'm starting out here in the event registration module already. So at the bottom here, I created the test event so that I can go through some of these options with you. So let's go ahead and click on change. And this is the same thing you would see as if you were creating a brand new event. So at the bottom of the first page, we're going to do save and continue. The second page is the packages, which we went over in a previous video. And the third page here is going to be the custom fields section. So I went ahead and created a few of these custom fields with different options already, just to kind of show what each of these are. But to begin with here, each of these fields has three options. You can copy it, you can edit, or you can delete it. So similarly to the package system, if you just want to copy an existing one, you just click copy, copy field, and it just creates a copy of the field that we just created. So in this case, it's this donation field. And just like with the packages too, you can click and drag these to reorder them in any way that you want. And these changes show up immediately. You have this little success icon in the upper right hand corner here to show that it did save what you did. So we're going to go ahead and delete this copy. Okay, so one thing before I go into some of these existing ones to kind of show the different options. So when you click add new field here at the top, it's going to show you the different field types you have. So there's text field, selection, checkbox, multi-line, numeric, donation, and text caption. What you'll notice with all of these, with the exception of the text caption option, is there is this quantity available, which means you can have up to this many of that field. The thing to keep in mind here, however, is this is your total amount of creations of this. So if you create a field and then you delete it because you don't like how it looks or you don't like how it turned out, it's not going to refund your total here. It's going to keep that as a -1 situation. So for example, let's say the selection box here is 189 available. If we go back to the custom fields section and I say copy this selection field, because doing this will also remove it. So now we have two options in here. So if we do add new field, selection is now saying 189. So it did remove one of those options there. Then if we come back here and delete this, and then look back, it's still at 188. So even if you remove a field you created, it still removes that. So just kind of be mindful of that as you're creating these fields. And if for some reason you're choosing to use a lot of a certain field and you want to potentially get a couple more added, you can always reach out to support and see if it's something that can be done. So next we'll go ahead and look at some of these options. So we'll start with the donation field option. So for this you get field name, you can input instructions. If you want to make this field available only from a certain time frame, you can do an available on date and a cutoff date, similar to the packages. Restricting this, like with the packages, makes it so only admins can select it. If you want to include an image with it, you actually have that option here. You can just click choose file, it'll open up the file explorer on your computer and you can just put an image in here. If you want to enable attendance tracking for the field, that is also an option that you can do. This is useful for things like if you want to create what we call breakout sessions, or it's, say you create an event that happens over the course of a whole weekend and then there's different little sessions that happen throughout the weekend. So say you're creating an event for a fair and you have one event in the morning that's like a circus and an event at night that's like a concert. You can make it so that people can select which session it is they want to go to, because you can create a session that is that circus in the morning and a session that is that concert at night, and then you can enable attendance tracking for people selecting those designated areas. If you want to make it so certain fields are tied to certain packages, you can check this box here, and then it will bring up the package list, and you can go through here and you can select whatever packages that you've created already to tie this field to. If you want to tie this with a QuickBooks general ledger, you have the option to here as well with this drop down, just to select which one it is you want. This additional data fields, this is useful for if you want to have extra information that can show up on some of the customized exports for the event, or if you want to include it on like dynamic badges or something like that. You have the option to add in different bits of information, so like the location, the date, start and end time, a time zone. If you want to add a calendar link, if you have like a session speaker or a special guest, you can include that here. If you want to include a biography about them, you can include that here as well. Or if you want to hide all of this stuff, you can just click this hide additional data fields during registration, and all of this won't show up at all. Granted, all of this is really only used for like that badge situation. When you're going through registering it, you're not going to see this on like the end registration summary or anything like that. The dynamic badge options, if you choose to use them, you can include this field information on the badge. You can include this on the ticket for all attendees, the itinerary ticket, or the custom text section for the dynamic badge. All those options are here. If you want to include it on the itinerary, you can do it on the general or the individual, or you can do both. If you want to, you just select the appropriate options. If you have a Zoom meeting in mind for this specific custom field or this session, you can always select it from this drop down here as well. So that is everything you would need to know about the donation one. And a lot of those options, it's going to be kind of consistent throughout all of these different areas. So next we're going to go with the checkbox field. So the checkbox field, again, a lot of this stuff is the exact same thing. Only here, as opposed to the donation, you can include a cost with it if you'd like. So when this gets selected, then this cost gets added into the total that the person's going to be paying for this event. If you want to set it up so that there's a limited amount of openings, you can do that here as well. The additional data fields, again, all of this is the exact same. The badge options is still the same. The itinerary options, all of those are still the same. So the main thing that's different compared to the donations piece is the cost and the openings available. But all these other options, these are going to be consistent throughout all of these different custom field selections. With the checkbox, you can also add dependent fields, which is what I did here with the selection field. So what will happen is with the selection field, here you can have the option to use it as radio buttons, so that's a different one. If you want to enable the tracking for the field, again, you can do that. Make available to table package attendees. So if you have table packages set up, you can make it so that those attendees also are able to select this custom field if you check this box. Additional data fields, badge options, itinerary options, all that's still the same. Now with the selection, when you do save and continue here, it's going to take you to a new screen, which is to add the selection options. So in this case, I just went ahead and I added 3 options. And on here, again, you can drag and drop these in any order that you want. And it'll save it as you make those changes. Now you'll notice with the selection 1 here, I have it set to say default. So if we come in here and edit this, the reason that it shows up is that. So you have option name, description, speaker, speaker bio, because again, this is if you want to make it so like there's a special guest speaker, you can have that kind of information in here. Location, a cost, you can set it to be restricted, and there's the default option here. So if you uncheck this box, now back on that screen, it won't have the default in parentheses. The reason it has that is because now when you're going through doing the registration and you get to this point, you would see that is the default option that is checked. So with this as well, there is the credit hours information. So credit hours, continuing education credits, these are things that you can do a variety of things with. Just kind of depends on what it is that you'd like to do. If you'd like more information on that, you can always check with our support staff. Then again, linking to a Zoom meeting and general ledger information. So that's the selection. And since this is the dependent field, the way this is going to work is if you check the box for the checkbox field, then you will see the information for the selection field. Next, we're going to look at the numeric section. So again, name, instructions, date information, restricting. There's the cost per unit again, as well as openings available. And again, hide additional data fields, and all of that is still the same. The multi-line text box, this is going to be useful in situations where it's like you want like quite a bit of information from someone, for example. So if you want to do kind of like an icebreaker mixer event, you could always put here something like tell us something about yourself as an example. So that's about what I did here for instructions, just to enter something about yourself if you'd like. You can also make it so that this field is a required entry if you'd like. So the text fields, multi-line text, or just regular text field, it will have this entry required option. So you can make it so that people have to put something in here if you'd like to go that route. And the last option here, text field, this is the one where I did enable the entry required option. So again, same stuff. Entry is required. Hide additional data fields. Save and continue. Then at the bottom here, there's alternate title event information section. Basically, this is making it so that whatever you put in here, this would be like the title for this block of information. So if I put in here custom fields, say continue, this once again is the preview screen for what you'd be seeing. And the custom field section, so again, this is what I added as that alternate title. So this is what's showing up above everything. And all of this would show up on the same page as the package selection information. So here you have your donation field, your checkbox, numeric field, multi-line, and text field. Now, unlike with some other parts of the system where clicking on this would give a pop-up for additional information, if you click on this for more information, what it's going to show is actually the description that you added beforehand. So, for example, with the checkbox field, if you click on this, if you check this box, the dependent field will display. So, click the checkbox, and now you'll see the selection options and see that selection 1, which I set as the default, is checked by default. Then for the text field required, you see that there is this little asterisk here to denote that this is in fact a required field. So hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We look forward to working with you. Thanks and have a great day.